Yeah. I was saying we didn't get any snow this year, thank God. We just got like a centimeter or 2 centimeters once or twice, and that was it. So it was great. I never had to wear boots, nothing. All right, 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. Copy paste. I love copy paste. Copy paste makes life so easy. All right, fantastic. So we are streaming live on YouTube, and let me hit record here. All right, hello everyone. Welcome to the Laura Canfield Show, the Awaken Happiness Now Global Series. Thank you so much for being here. If you are live or watching on the replay, thank you so much. And it is my deepest wish, desire, and intention to be of service to you, to bring you healers, teachers, speakers, support, resources, techniques, and tools that can support you in your growth and your expansion and expansion of consciousness, as well as the consciousness of the planet, raising the vibration of humanity and the collective. There's just so much that is going on right now, and there's so much that we're doing. So I'm so glad that you are here with us, and please do subscribe if you haven't yet to the channel, because that's the easiest way to see all the shows, whether they're live or whether they're replay. So please do that. And I'm so excited because my good friend Ana Maria Vasquez is back with us. It's been a few years. It's been a crazy few years. And so, we, it happens, life happens, right? So today we're going to be talking about activating our sacred alliance with the natural world. And some of what we're going to discuss is going to be, how we're never going to look at the natural world the same way as we did before. We're going to understand what it means to activate your alliance with the natural world and why it matters. We're going to discover the energetics behind your patterns of struggle. We're going to learn easy ways to connect with the life force energy that flows through the natural world. We're going to uncover the sonic connection we have with the plants. We're going to remember our connection with the shadow animal energy in our lives. Interesting. We're going to understand how collaborating with the natural realm can turbocharge your spiritual development and manifestation abilities. And we're going to discover how you can activate your alliance with the natural realms. And of course, Ana Maria is going to be doing some live intuitive natural realm readings. To find out what the natural world wants you to know, simply ask for your nature reading. So for those of you who are here live with us, you can raise your hand or you can type your question in the chat. We will do that at some point. But first, please join me in welcoming Ana Maria to the show.
Oh my goodness. I'm so grateful that you have this platform, right? Like your community, they're so delightful, right? Because they're so heart-based. And yes. We just, like, that was a lot, right? Basically, in a nutshell, what we're going to talk about is the natural world, collaborating with the natural world as part of your spiritual path. Like, it's this whole untapped, amazing, energetic resource that we have access to and allies, right? It's so deep and profound, and we've just forgotten. And that's why I'm so excited, because of everything you said, all the craziness that's going on in the world, all the wackadoodleness. We have to remember how to be these energetic beings while we're here in this physical body. And nature is our quickest portal to that.
Oh, absolutely. For me, nature, being in the country where I am, has been my saving grace the past two and a half years. And so without going out regularly, just being in nature, being in a really small village of 75 people has been so beneficial for me. Now, before we go into the actual call, Ana Maria, I just wanted to share, for those of you who don't know Ana Maria, we used to collaborate years ago, on this show as well. And, Ana Maria is a wonderful, wonderful guest, a wonderful reader, very intuitive, spot on. So she is a multisensory animal and nature intuitive. She's a natural energy reader who lifts the veil between what's happening in the 3D world and the energetic patterns behind it, which is kind of what we talked about, what we're going to do today. And through teaching, speaking, and remote sessions, Ana Maria's profound connection with the natural world sources her in helping you understand the messages coming from the animals and nature while unpacking your intuitive backpack. And so, Ana Maria, you may not know, but you might know, because I may have mentioned it. We have two dogs, and they're both Tibbies, right? And I remember one time going into your group on Facebook and asking about something, because it's like when we first got Neo, he was just so little, 4 months old, and I didn't know anything about dogs at that, like I didn't know how to, yeah, but such a wonderful joy. It's like I don't even know how to say that exactly, because it's not even that. It's like it's crazy how much I love Neo. And now Timmy, we rescued him as well last year. So we've had him for a year. He's older, so he's 10. And so it took us a while, 6 months at least, for him to really settle down. But now he's like, oh, he's so good. And he's such a good boy. And he just like, he lets me hug him. He lets me, and I'm a huggy, feely, touchy type of person. So he lets me do that now. And it's like, I used to be scared of him, honestly, but he's like so good. So I'm so glad that we trusted our intuition, when we went to the shelter and we said, yes, we'll take him. And they say, well, he's difficult. He has these problems and issues. It's like, it's fine. We'll figure it out. Right. I'm so glad. I'm so grateful we did that, because he's such a blessing. He listens. Thank God. Neo does not listen, but oh my God, he's just like the cutest little thing ever. And a mother's love for their baby is like, you can do no wrong. I love you anyways. You drive me crazy, but oh my God, I love you so much. And my husband says, oh my God, he's not a kid. He's a dog. What? Just leave him alone. It's like, I can't.
Same.
I like to cuddle. I like to hug him. I like to, it's just like, and just tell him how much I love him. And so I just wanted to let you know, because I had a vision years ago that I would have 2 dogs and living in the country. So, we got Neo in 2018, and then it's like, oh yeah, I keep having this vision of 2 dogs and living in the country. Well, but now, like, I realized just a couple of days ago, I was like, oh my God, I have 2 dogs and I'm living in the country. Yes, it actually came to pass, so it's funny how, listening to our intuition with animals, right, especially, and with nature, like we are in nature, like, there's nothing here, 75 people, there's nothing, right? And it's so wonderful, the peace that you feel, and also the connection that you feel, right? So I know I'm just like talk. So
well, it's right. You encapsulated the whole thing between us animal and nature lovers, right? Like you just explained it.
Exactly.
we feel a peace and expansion, a fulfillment that we don't feel in other places. It's not that it doesn't make anything else bad or wrong. It's just that's our home. That's where we feel home. Let us go to the trees, let us go to the rocks, let us go in our gardens, let us go with our animals, and we're there.
Yeah, exactly. And it's such a gift for all of us. So I always say, if you can rescue, it's great, because the shelters, it's not the best place, so they do the best they can, but it's I feel so bad for Timmy. I don't know how long he was there, but I don't think he was treated well by his previous owners, and in a shelter it's tough. So I'm so glad that we have this opportunity to love him and just show him how precious he is, and he's such a good boy. Anyways, I could talk about the boys all day long. It's just I didn't know that I could love a dog, a pet, so much. I mean, I have kids of my own, human kids, right? And I love them, but I love the dogs so much too. It's like I didn't know that was a possibility. So yeah.
That's phenomenal, right? That's our expansion, and that's more into that unity consciousness, really, because I am that, right? It's not just that is my beloved dog. I am that is me, and this back and forth, and the more that we interact with the whole world like that, that's when we start creating a different reality, and we begin living a different life, and we begin living on this planet in a different way. And that is the essence, right? Like this is you were following your intuition perfectly to start the show this way, because you explained through your experience exactly what we're talking about. It becomes a spiritual path for us. It makes us a better version of ourselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I know like when I'm talking about them, I'm lit up, and like my heart is all expanded. There's
You're in
no
your
thoughts in my head about anything.
if you're in your heart space, that's the best way, because it's like a buzzword, drop into your heart space.
Mhm.
And people are like, I don't know if I dropped anywhere. I was breathing. And but that, I call it the awe point, right? Like think about your animal. And as
Yeah.
soon as you get to the awe, because you saw their little paws, or you saw their little nose, or their little tummy, whatever it is that gets you to go, awe, that's how we know we're in that heart space. Our
Mhm.
animals naturally take us there, our connection, right? We see a beautiful sunset, we do the same thing.
Yes.
We see
Yes.
a beautiful mountain peak. This is all that we naturally go there. And we also know that we can work with the element of air through our breath and drop ourselves into that space too. And then when we've got that breath coupled with our conscious intent, that's when we start making magic, right? That creates heart coherence. That connects us to the quantum field. That's where the infinite possibilities dwell.
Mhm.
If you're
Yeah.
looking to shift your life in any way, that's where you want to be.
Absolutely. I mean, it's so easy for people to say, be in your heart space, feel gratitude, be expansive. It's like, well, what if I'm not feeling it, right? But as soon, yeah, but as soon as you are, like you said, being with your pets or looking at a sunset or sunrise or flowers. For me, it's nature, flowers, trees, all that kind of stuff, right? Clouds, the sky, the sun. Any of that automatically opens your heart, expands your state of being, right? And so from that state, I think too, if you when you're in that state, if you can bring your attention to maybe what you want to create, that's going to be easier to create than when you're like trying to figure it out, right?
Yes, if we're figuring it out, saying it, or we're in that energy, we're on the wrong track.
Yeah.
It's not figurable out, right? Like we're looking to connect with the divine consciousness, that universal wisdom, and receive the inspiration through that, right? Like there's a lot of smart people on the planet and they would have figured things out. There's a different path that we're looking to allow ourselves. And that's where animals and nature become the portal for us, right? To connect in to this divine inspiration, the divine wisdom, and that gives us the clarity to move forward, right? If we're stuck in self-doubt, if we're stuck in lack of clarity, if we're running in circles, if we were in that fog, we're not in alignment. We're not in that flow. We're probably holding our breath.
Yeah. And usually in those times when I'm like in my head or in my emotions, and like, not in a good space, then when I play with the boys or if I go for a walk, automatically everything shifts, right? And that's what we have to, I think, understand too, that we can shift our state. We don't have to stay in that state, that whatever is happening, we don't have to stay in that state. And when you shift consciously, because like when I'm going for a walk, I'm not thinking about all my problems. I'm like enjoying. Or when I'm playing with the boys, I'm not thinking about any of my problems, right? I'm just playing. That tends to open up your field for more opportunities, a different perception, different ways of looking at things, and at the same time, information, guidance, downloads, right?
Exactly. And we free up the energy, right? When we're so on it like that, when we're fixated, there's no room for flow. We need to have flow. And when we're in that movement, when we're connected, there's also, I love hanging out in that spot where science meets spirituality. And so we know, right, like the earth releases these negative ions. And that is one of the things that biologically helps us. It's sourcing us, it's helping us. And we also know when we go outside, which is like the first line in my book, Nature, right? Go outside, nature's calling you, because when we get out there, we take ourselves out of our synthetic environments where there's so much noise pollution that we don't even hear, energetic pollution going on. And we are allowed to be back in our own system, back in our own flow, our own rhythm. And it doesn't take that long, right? But we got to get up and do it. We got to go out there and do it. And then we begin this journey of moving nature as a backdrop into an ally, right? Like a true collaborator with you in your life. Everything that I do involves time with the trees, with the rocks, with the animals, and asking their take on it instead of me trying to figure it out, right? Because when I do that, I waste a lot of time.
That's true. So is that what we should be doing? Is that when we're going out in nature, going for a walk, or whatever we're doing, we should be communing with the trees, with the rocks, with the flowers? For me, it's just like, hello, nature, hello, world, hello, and I just talk like that, not to anything specific. It's just the whole thing. I mean, I get so many downloads when I'm walking, and sometimes it's interesting what's coming through that I hadn't thought of before, or it's just, new and a different way of looking at things. But I'm not consciously talking to the trees, for example.
Well, there's a couple different things, right? Like just being outside changes everything. It shifts the field and opens you up for different things. Now, when we add our conscious intent, so, like, oh, this has been on my heart or my mind, and I'm looking for new possibilities. What would it take, right? We want to keep the field open. Then we can go out with an intention of inspiration, but it's not, we want to stay open, right? It's that fine line, because we don't want to march outside and go, okay, I'm open for this new possibility to come in. Come on, hurry up. I only got 5 more minutes on my walk, right? Like it's work like that. But for me, going out in nature is like going outside to play with my friends, right? So I may have an agenda, but most times I don't. It's just, hey, this is what's going on in my world. I like to, tell them what's going on and how I feel about it, because emotions are energy in motion. And it actually creates a really beautiful roadmap for you to uncover what's going on under the surface that we've been trying to keep a lid on, or we've been trying to keep at arm's length. So being out with the trees, being out with the rocks, being out with the animals, and saying, this is what's going on in my life, right? Like, this is where things are going great. And this is where I've got some, contractions going on, or it's not so comfortable. This is how I feel about it. Well, it makes me scared or makes me mad. Why am I dealing with this? I thought I dealt with that already. And getting that out, moving that energy. We spend so much time not talking about it or talking about it ad nauseum, right? Like we tell everybody about it. But what happens is we stay stuck on that path. And we've got an opportunity to create a pattern interrupt at that point. And when we do it in nature, right, like connected with a tree or a rock, or calling in those natural realm allies, it's amplified. So then we say, yeah, that's what's going on. That's how I feel about it. But that's not my truth. My truth is prosperity, abundance, peace, joy, connection, right? And then everything else falls in line. But if we keep beating the drum of what's not working in our life, and we tell that story over and over, nothing happens except more of that story. So we create that pattern interrupt. We've got all of nature, this energy, this life force energy that's showing up as nature in all of its forms as our allies to amplify that new pattern that's saying, not that, but this. That's what starts to create magic in our life. And when we do that consistently, we create a new well-worn path, right? Our old well-worn path was lack, despair, not enough. Oh crap, now what do I do? Rinse and repeat. When we build, and then when we're not conscious, it just floats there by default.
Yeah.
And so we're creating a new path, a new well-worn path to something that actually helps us and sources us, and sources and helps the plants and the animals that we love so much.
Absolutely. And what you just said is really important, is that when our attention goes to those thoughts over and over again, the same thoughts over and over again, it's just a habit. It's just a habit. It's because we've done it before. We've done it so many times. It's just a habit. Doesn't make it significant, right? It does not make it significant. But we tend to, because like, oh my God, this is still happening. This is still going on. Why is this thing not working? Blah, 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 right? And so we make it significant. We give it meaning, but we don't have to. We don't have to follow that thought. We can say, no, let's focus on something else that actually makes me feel better. Because, those negative thoughts, those old patterns, those old programs, those things that are not working are not making you feel good. And you can't create from that energy, right?
You only create more of the same, right? And we don't need another new circus with new nonsense, right? We need to be creating what really lights us up. And I feel like I'm the poster child for that, right? Like I did everything everyone said to do, and my life fell apart, and I was miserable, and I cried on my way to work every freaking day, right? Like when I had to say goodbye to my dogs, I'm crying then. And I'm driving to work because then I'm thinking about all the nonsense I have to deal with there. And all I want to do is, like be in my element, which is nature, and be creating from that space. So when my life finally did fall apart, and I'm sitting in the ashes, and I'm like, what am I going to create now? How am I going to create differently now? And so learning from the trees, right? It was the trees who spoke audibly to me first. And my response to them, right, was, oh, I wanted to talk to dogs. I don't know what to do with a talking tree, right? It's so human, it's so silly. And the tree was like, it's okay, the dogs are coming. And so I speak from a place of experience where I've taken all of this into my living laboratory, and there's more going on in the natural world than meets the eye. And there's a lot of great science that's starting to show up to show, oh my gosh, it's true. These rocks are transmitters. They are attractors. The trees are doing things that even science can't explain. So if we lean in and we get intentional about our connection to the natural world, there is practical magic that is available to us in our everyday lives that changes what it looks like. I always tell folks when I start working with them, imagine how our conversation is going to be different a year from now. And you're standing here saying, I don't have any abilities. I don't have any intuitive abilities. I can't talk to dogs. I can't talk to trees. And then the next year comes around. I don't even have to remind them most of the time. And they're like, oh my gosh, yes, everything is different now than it was. And it is not me. It's you remembering and letting nature and the animals help you remember.
Absolutely. And that's the thing that, everything does change if we allow the change. If we don't hold on to the old patterns, if you allow the change to happen, everything does change. And that's something I say all the time. I am not the same person I was a year ago, not the same person I was 5 years ago, 10 years, not at all. I am not the same. Doesn't mean that tomorrow I'm going to be different, but you know what? Honestly, I am, but you can't always see it that close, right? But we're always changing as long as we're willing to keep moving forward, right? Keep moving forward without trying to control how that movement forward looks. And I know we try to control it. I used to call myself a recovering control freak. Now I'm just like, I'm not a control freak. I'm not a recovering. I'm just not. I'm an allowance freak now.
Good reframing.
Right? Yeah. So that's the thing. But we, a lot of us, we see what's going on in our world and think that's the truth, that's reality, that's not changing. And that is, again, not true, because everything is always changing. So what can we do to work with the natural realm to really have that deeper connection with the natural realm to make the change?
The first thing is just making that connection, right? Leaning in, whatever lights you up, right? Maybe it's trees, maybe it's rocks, maybe it's your garden, maybe it is your animals. Where is that place, right? Like make that first connection and make that intention. I'm showing up. In fact, the very first, the way it all happened for me is one of my spiritual teachers said, I want you to go out and put your hands on a tree, the same tree, for 30 days. And I really thought, this is just busy work because they don't know what to do with me. I'm asking a lot of questions and so I went out and I put my hands on the tree and nothing for 3 weeks, right? Like nothing. I'm touching the tree. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm telling it. I feel silly. I don't know what's going on. And then somewhere in that 4th week, I was inside my home and I asked a question out loud and I heard an audible response that sounded like it came from the tree outside.
Right.
So I started engaging with it, but that's that first point of connection. Like I said, I wasn't looking to connect with a tree. I wanted to talk to dogs. And yet that's where what the tree went on to explain to me is we find our point of recalibration. And then we're as humans, we're raising our field, our vibrational field, to meet with the trees, with the rock beings, with the rivers, with the lakes, with the animals. And then as we raise our vibration, we can connect in easier. And then we have this thing that I've discovered is our intuitive development cycle. It's not like everyone thinks it's a switch, right? Like, oh, turn it on, and now, ooh, I'm electric, and I see things, and it's not like some people it's like that, but most of the time,
Most people it's not.
Yeah, most of the time it's this cycle, and it's not linear, and so it's on and then it's off. I get this a lot, like it used to work and now it doesn't. Like I think I broke it, and that you can't break it, but in the cycle, it starts with us having no awareness of anything at all, right? Like I didn't know I could talk to a tree. I didn't know a rock could talk to me or my dog or whatever. And then we go into, maybe there is a possibility. And then we go into, right, like with the tree, wow, you're so beautiful. And I feel your energy. I feel your life force. But it's very one way, us, directing it at the tree. And then one day, right, we might feel something back from the tree. We might feel like, oh my gosh, I wasn't even doing anything. I felt love is what I hear it called all the time. I felt all this love coming from this tree to me. And then we move into a place where it's a two-way dialogue, right? Like that's where I live, where I'm out there. When something happens in my life, most people text everybody in their circle. I like run out to the trees and I tell them first, and then I come back in and text everybody. And I have a special group of trees that really hold me and hold this literally a circle for me and tell them, right? Like this is what's going on. And that's that two-way dialogue. And then there's this piece again, where it's kind of like radio silence, where you're like, oh my gosh, I've had all these magical experiences and now it's, and what the heck? And we think we broke it. But that is typically where we're in an up level and we're ready to expand into another level. And we kind of get radio silence, but then our thoughts, because we freak out, right? Like, oh no, right? Like, see, I knew I couldn't do this. Like, who did I think I was? And then we feed that and we beat the drum of that, what we don't want instead of realizing, oh, this is a part of a natural rhythm and cycle, just like in nature, right? When a snake sheds its skin, it loses its eyesight for a short period of time because it's up leveling. It won't live if it doesn't do that. But we freak out, right? Like we're like, oh, it's either on or off. And we forget that there's a rhythm, a cycle, and a flow. And when we allow ourselves as humans who are nature, we just moved out of the forest. But when we allow ourselves to be in that rhythm, that's when our own magic comes through. That's when how we see it first is manifesting, right? But it's really when our own magic starts to come through. And there are steps, right, that we can do this. Just how we know, like we can use, the tone of a drum to induce our brain into a state that helps us be open to the other energies, to the subtle energies. So again, where we mix that place where science and spirituality meet, we open up this beautiful place for us to play, but play with purpose.
Yes, I love that, playing with purpose. And that's, I think, that's the purpose. But it's not even sometimes at the beginning you have to just connect to create a relationship. After you've created the relationship, then you move into the purpose. But at the beginning, it's just connection and being one with the natural realm, etc. Right? And so, you were told to do it for 30 days. Put your hand on the tree for 30. Most people want quick, right now. I want now. I don't want to do something for 30 days because, I don't want to wait. So what do you say to that?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I was sticking to it because I'm stubborn, right? And I was like, I'm going to make a point. This didn't work, right? And so what else have you got for me? So I had to apologize at the end for that. but there are little things, right? Like that, you're right. That was a big commitment for 30 days to step into the unknown. And that's great that I did it. But as I've learned more, right? Like the trees at one point took me under their tutelage for 2 years. And I'm an avid, voracious reader of everything I can get my hands on and or can get in front of me. And they wouldn't let me read anything about trees, not even like biology, right? Like scientific. They were like, no, nothing, nada. For it was over 2 years. And they took me in and they taught me things that then when I went back to reading, I was seeing where the verification was coming from science. And it was great because I was able, for my skeptical mind, to say, oh, wow, you guys, this is amazing. Now you told me that before I ever read it. And in that time, they taught me other ways, right, of connecting with trees, with the animals, with plants. And so there are different ways, right? Just like I said, just being out in nature for at least 5 minutes is going to source you. If you can be barefoot, that's even better. That amplifies it by so much. But there are simple things that you can do, like that breath work while you're out in nature. But then we want to take it deeper, but to move it quicker, right? This is where I bring in my shamanic work, where we couple a shamanic journey with working with each of the elements, right? The animals, the plants, the minerals, the elementals, all of our unseen allies, because there are times in our life, right? Like we're saying, consciously, this is what I want, right? I want to be a force of good for the animals. I want to be a part of the expansion here. I want to, whatever we wanna, right? It doesn't even matter what it is, but we're in that space where we're saying that, and then we're not getting the progress. And we're like, I don't understand. Why isn't this moving forward? Why can't I manifest that? Or why can't I bring that ability out? Well, so often we're trying to create a new future on a broken past. And I'm not even talking about this lifetime, right? Because we're like, oh my gosh, I totally love animals. I would never harm an animal in this lifetime. But we have to remember that our soul is ancient and it's had an evolution too. And so we've been everything and done everything and had everything done to us. So there are lifetimes where you weren't as kind to animals. There are, even in our own lineage, right? We have our family history where they may have profited on the harm to the earth or the animals or an element in this great cycle of life, in this web of life. And then we're here saying, oh, I'm going to, take a stand and I'm going to create da, 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 da. We don't get the traction. We don't understand why. Sometimes we have to go in and through that shamanic ceremony, ritual, and journey, I can take you through where you talk to these aspects that you may not even be aware of. And we honor, we bless, we make amends. And then from there, it's like we're given this whole other realm's permission to move forward. And not permission, blessing is a better word. And then all of a sudden we see any effort that we put in, it's amplified from that point. So we've got this ability to do work now in a timely fashion, right? Where we can really start to see results. And we can say, oh my gosh, from the time I started intentionally, connecting with that tree and doing that journey and listening to the plant music, we haven't even talked about plant music. All of those things, the harmonics affect and deliver information to your field, right? So even when because I incorporate plant music and harmonics and tones and all of these very intentional pieces into my shamanic journeys, because they're affecting us at a very deep level and at multi-dimensional levels. So just exposing yourself to it. I know a lot of times people go through the journey and they're like, I slept through the whole thing. And I'm like, it's okay. The work is still being done. You're still taking it in. You just weren't at a level that you could stay conscious through it. That's okay. It's still happening. It's still moving. And then you start to see in your life where things start shifting, where there's more ease and grace. And we don't know what we don't know, right? Like, how would we know that it was related to a past life thing or it was related to this or that?
Yeah.
So until we dive into that connection, and look a little deeper, especially when we're these heart-centered souls who feel that connection to nature and animals. We want to have that clear slate so that we can be creating in collaboration moving forward in a big way, because the planet needs us.
Absolutely. And we need the planet. And so you were talking about the plants. So our connection with the plants, or what did you say, the music of the plants?
Of the plants. So there's been for the last 60 years this small eco-conscious community in northern Italy, and it's Damenher, and they've been studying plant consciousness and plant intelligence. Their studies have been phenomenal. They actually got a plant to drive a remote control car.
What?
Not just in circles. Like, it's phenomenal, because they were able to connect in to the bioenergetic field of the plant. And once the plant realized that it could control the car, it was a whole nother level of amazingness. So these same engineers, these same scientists, these same researchers then started working on a device, because right now, I'm looking out at a forest, and all of the plants out there, all of the trees, they're all emitting sounds, frequencies all the time, but they're outside of the spectrum, our audible spectrum. So we don't hear it, right? We go out there, it's like, oh, it smells good, it looks good, whatever. But they're emitting sounds, and those tones, those frequencies, those harmonics are affecting us. That's also beyond the negative ions. Why, when we go outside, we feel so good, we feel so brilliant, those pieces. And so these scientists were able to create a device that you hook up to the plant. So I'm fortunate I have this device, and I asked the plant for permission first, because we're moving from doing things, we're done doing things to animals and nature. Now we're in collaboration with them, and this is when it's going to get really fun, and because we're not in that domination cycle. So I tell a plant, hey, I got this machine that's going to let us hear you. I got to clip it and then put it by your roots. Is that going to be okay? And if they say no, then I go on, but I actually rarely get a no. So you hook that up, and it takes the bioenergetic field of the plant and translates it into audible tones. And so each plant has a little different song that it sings. And I have seen, same as with the remote control car, the plants start to learn that they affect those sounds. And so one plant can produce multiple tones because they can pick different notes simultaneously. And I've been witness in a room where a vocalist had been working with this plant in the plant machine, and she sang a range of notes, and the plant mimicked it note for note.
Wow.
I was like, oh my gosh, we got to get all our plants in here to see this. And the plants are like, yeah, we already know. It's the humans that don't know that you guys can do this, that there can be this interspecies
wow.
inspiration. There's a whole segment of plant music out there where I went to a conference in Paris, outside of Paris, actually, where all these musicians from around the world were sharing what their collaborations were with these different plants. So what I do,
I don't know. It's so hard to comprehend.
God, yeah, I get it. And I don't work high level like that, right? Like, I'm not a musician and I don't sing. I sing, but not like that. So what I do is I work with different plants and I record. I tell them, this is what I do. I help people reconnect to nature and to connect to their true selves through nature. And so what would you want to share with us? And then I record that and I use it, like I said, in any of my shamanic journeys, in my special offer, we've got a whole module that is the plant music, where I explain all of that stuff further. And then you get to go on a journey with the plants. And then you always have that recording of that plant music. It's great to just play in the background because it helps you remember. There was actually a study in Italy as well on the healing power of the music of the plants. So what they did was they would expose some patients to plant music and some not, just like normal. And at the end of the study, what they found is the patients who were exposed to plant music were released on average 3 days sooner from the hospital than the people who had not. And these are just run-of-the-mill house plants. No offense to run-of-the-mill house plants, then you think about like healing plants and herbs, right? Like I have my own line of CBD. We work with these cannabis plants. And so then my head went to, what if you played cannabis music, right? To somebody who was in chronic pain. What if you played the pinyon pine tree music to someone who is having a back issue, right? Like there are these different things that we use that we work with plant. We've used them in the past. We work with them now for healing. This is the next piece of energy healing that we don't even understand completely, right? Like right now in my head, I'm like, okay, play the comfrey plant. If, just like you would, if you were to take the comfrey plant, to help build tissues in your body, or the cayenne plant for, circulation in your body. So we have a whole new way, and it's so exciting. And this is why I was late, right? I'm literally running from one amazing thing to another amazing thing. And then to be able to share it. I was just interviewed on the show, and I was talking with a photobiologist, right? Like, how great is this? These plant scientists are finally starting to put the two together, and they're starting to have these amazing experiences too. And now they want answers. So the ability, right, to talk to the science community and have them open up to possibilities. And the truth is, the plants have been waiting for us to remember this, right? Like it used to be like this all the time. And then we forgot. We went through our cycles, it just is what it is, but we have an opportunity to connect deeply. And it really does start as easy as going outside. But we can go even further, right? I can take you even more places, and really, like that friend who always knows that great spot on the river or up in the mountain. That's me, but in the energetic realm.
Wow, that is so amazing. I've never heard of that. I mean, I saw on your page somewhere, I saw diamond herb, but I didn't look into it. But it's like, that is phenomenal. I will definitely do some more research on that myself, just because it's so neat. It's so cool.
Yeah.
I wanted just to take a few questions, from people, and because I know even like during questions, knowledge, wisdom comes through as well. So I wanted to take a few questions, and then we'll keep going, if that's okay.
I need 1 second. My Great Dane is saying, could you let me back into the house so I can lay on my couch? So give me 1 moment. I'll be right back. I'm just a personal assistant, you guys. I'm going to do all this cool stuff, but at the end of the day, I'm just a personal assistant to a Great Dane, a cat, a couple horses, and some chickens, and some wild animals that boss me around too. I'll be right back.
I totally understand. That's like me with the Tibbies, we do everything for them, and yeah, we're their slaves. That's what my husband says. We're their slaves. Yes, we are. No worries. All right, so we're going to go to Michelle. Michelle, do you want to unmute yourself? And then when Ana Maria comes back, we will take your question.
Yeah, I had my hand raised for a reading, so I don't have a question in mind right now.
No, that's fine. Yeah, reading, question, whatever happens to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. The cat and dog are super grateful to you guys. So, who's the first question for? I heard reading, so it's already coming in, but I didn't hear who it was for.
Michelle.
All right, let me just feel in here for a second. You actually have owl energy coming through for you today. And it's interesting because, well, first of all, I'm out of breath just from running back, but there's an intention in here too, right? Like there's an intentional piece going on. We're dealing with an owl, which is a bird, right? Its realm is the air, that element of air. This breath, me being out of breath, aside from my fitness level, what we're really looking at here is this piece around your ability to take life in at a deeper level, right? Like, because sometimes this pattern of, like you get up, you get hit. It's just one thing after another is what the pattern feels like to me. Work with this owl energy to let you navigate through this mystery, right? Like the darkness, it's mystery. We don't know. Let you navigate through this much easier, because the old trauma, it's just getting in the way. And it makes your system put on the brakes right before you get to the good stuff. And so then you like do all this freaking work and never get any payoff. So how great is that? So let's shift it. Let's let Owl come in, work with Owl, especially before bedtime. Ask Owl, connect with Owl, get in that awe place right in the heart with Owl so that you can connect, and then say, share with me how I can do this differently, right? Because you're not dumb. You're very intelligent, and that phenomenal brain is actually what's getting in the way, but we can use it in your favor, right? We're going to use it. You're going to be like a scientist, your own living laboratory. Okay, brain, you take notes while I go explore the other possibilities. So especially before bedtime, connect with Owl to be shown another way to do this.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Amazing. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Michelle. Glad that resonates with you. Good. We're going to go to Suzanne. Suzanne, you want to unmute yourself?
Thank you very much. Yes, I'm living in Germany in a suburb of an old university town where there's pretty much nature around me. And there are also quite a few cats from neighbors here, sometimes visiting this garden and area. And for me, it's so frustrating because I always like to greet the cats, and I almost like want to touch them, and I greet them. I stand there, talk to them when I walk to my car also, but they always rush away. And I try like inside of me to connect to them and to tell them, hey, you don't have to be afraid, but it never works. What am I doing wrong? What is the problem? Thank you.
That is so well put, because I know so many people can relate to that. And even, even as someone who does communicate with animals, I will tell you that instinct for them to protect themselves is just so strong that I will even experience that sometimes too. And then I just I'm like, I honor you, right? Like, I want you to do what you, just like in life, I want you to do what you need to do to be safe, right? And I'm telling you that I'm safe, but it's interesting that it's the cats bringing up this heart, right? Desire. And it's like a heartbreak because you can't quite make the connection. And I'm telling you, there's divine conspiracy afoot here, and these cats are all in on it. So the first thing, just keep doing what you've been doing in terms of just honoring them. Just say, I honor you, right? You weren't the person who was going to rush in and make them feel unsafe. So then when they take off, it's extra hurtful because you're like, oh, I would never. But that's okay. Just honor them. I honor that you're doing what you need to do. And you have to remember how many humans aren't like you. You know, how many are like sending them off or chasing them or whatever. So their instinct is to just survive. So let yourself off the hook with that. Just honor them. But let's shift over to the divine conspiracy that these cats are bringing forward for you, because I can feel it in your field, your connection, not just to the animals, but like the plants, the flowers. It feels like when I look at you, I see like all these flowers around you, like you're in a field of like daffodils, and tulips, and sweet peas and snapdragon. I mean, it's like this beautiful bouquet, and they like sing around you. You already have this connection. And these cats are about magic. Your magic is with the flowers, right? So for you to go in deeper and let that come in, and it may not be the end point, right? Like with me, I was like, all right, I want to talk to dogs. And they said, well, go talk to this tree. And then when the tree talked, I was like, why are you talking to me? I wanted to talk here. So it's a portal for you. So things like, again, having flowers around you, being in a garden, even essential oils, right? Diffusing the flower scents. What's this other, flower essences, right? Like the Bach flower essences. These would be really good. The one that's coming through for you in particular is Star of Bethlehem. And I
Oh,
would work with that one, and I would use the intention of connecting to your magic, because I feel like there's this sweetness in the gift that you can offer, but it comes through you connecting with the flowers. They're being very specific, right? Not like just all plants, the flowers.
okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. So I just tolerate that they have their protection away, and I want to greet them, but they always rush away.
I have a feeling this is going to shift once you start connecting in with the flowers some, because I feel like, again, this was a divine setup, right? Like, to get you to even have that question, all of these things had to happen for your team, your cosmic committee, to come through with this, to say, hey, go to the flowers.
Okay. Thank you, Ana Maria. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you,
Bye.
Suzanne. That was wonderful. Good. All right, we're gonna go to Kirsty. Kirsty, you want to unmute yourself?
Yeah, hello. Thanks for having
Hi.
me. I'm a passionate garden and cat person, and I'm just asking for a reading from Ana Maria.
How wonderful. I have to tell you, before I even saw you there, right? Like, grandmother Willow tree came through right away. And I felt like this group, you guys are so fun, right? Like, it can vary in how many senses are involved for me when I read for people. But when I'm with people that are like heart-based, it's like Technicolor for me, right? Which I'm sure now there's something better than Technicolor, but you know what I'm saying. So again, this visceral feeling of being underneath this big willow, this big grandmother willow tree. And so what she's bringing through, I'm just asking her, because there's a couple different pieces, and every time I start leaning, they're like, nope, not that one, not that one, not that one. So what they're showing me as I went through my list was from the willow tree. Actually, this is interesting. They pulled the main constituent in aspirin. Modern day aspirin comes from the willow tree. And so there's this piece about it being like easing pain. And so working with this grandmother willow tree, though, this is emotional pain. So what she's showing me is, like, is this one of those days where where your knee is telling you about the weather, right? Like, see what emotions are up based on what's going on in your body, bring it to grandmother Willow so she can create. And it's almost, she's showing it like that toroidal field where this is easy. It's just time to release. You've done the heavy lifting. Just bring it to grandma. She's going to let it release. Just spend some time there. And it feels like, again, right, make a line in the sand and check at the end of this spring season where you are at with that, because this feels very instantaneous of a healing.
Wow, wonderful. Thank you.
Very exciting. Say hi to Grandma Willow for me.
Yeah, I will. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Kirsty. Okay, that was wonderful. Different. All of the questions were different. All the readings were different, so, and the information that's coming through, of course, from Ana Maria is like spot on. I love it. We have more people with their hands raised and some questions in the chat, Ana Maria, but I just want to take a moment and talk about the package, because we're at the top of the hour. And then we'll come back to questions and conversation. Is that okay?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I'm going to share my screen. Give me 1 second here. So for those of you with your hand raised, hold on. Don't worry.
We'll be back.
Yeah, we'll be back. We're not going anywhere. We got you. All right. So Ana Maria has 2 packages, package A and package B. Package A is the Natural Realm Activation Program, and package B is an upgrade. So basically everything in package A plus a personal session with Ana Maria. So Ana Maria, this package for activating your sacred alliance with the natural world, there's a few pieces. So let's talk about what is included, what it's all about. You already talked a little bit about the shamanic journey.
Yeah, it's 7 parts to this, and you can do it in whatever order that you feel led, or you can just follow the order. I give you a little orientation, again, explaining what we're doing, the sounds we're incorporating, why you're doing it, what this is going to help with. Like we said, that 7-part shamanic journey really helps you get clearing that slate with the natural realm and all these different levels so that you can get some traction. And so you're not trying to create a new strong future on this broken past. So getting real clear, getting your system on all the different levels ready to go. Then
Awesome.
I talk about, in the next module, I talk about actual physical, easy to do tips and techniques to calibrate your field to the natural realm. There are just things. I am a person that believes, like, I want it to be easy. I want to work smarter, not harder. I want it to just be incorporated in my life already, right? And just it be happening, right? Like I'm right. Intention training is my website. That everything for me is about intention, right? So all of the jewels that I wear, the crystals, the energetics that I infuse around me, all of those pieces allow me to work at this high level. And I like to share those tips. So that second module is all about that. Then we talked about, right, natural rhythm and flow that we don't have. We got our foot on the gas all the time, says the woman who came to her interview 5 minutes late, right? So definitely, trust me, my team's poking me on my shoulder saying, are you listening? We've got this great activating the power of the seasons in your life. Each season has its own inherent energy, messages, and flow that help us in our own manifesting. So in that module, you have a presentation for each of the seasons. And this is what I love, because you have all these recordings. You can go back to them. So here we are coming up to the spring season. Well, guess what? You pop on your spring season and you're like, all right, I'm getting ready to manifest. I'm getting clear on my intentions. Ana Maria gave me some great exercises for the places where I'm not so clear. Okay, all of that for each of the seasons are in there so that you can be in the best flow for you, your system, depending on what season we're in. So it gives us a different way to be and move through the year. Then I love talking about animals, right? But I wanted to talk about animals in a way that people aren't talking about them already, right? Like we already know animals as messengers. We already know our power animals, right? And spirit animals and guides. But what about shadow animals, right? Shadow animals are those animals that bring up the intense emotions. I'm like spiders, lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my, right? Those things. But then for us nature and animal lovers who are like, what do you mean? I'm not afraid of anything. I love all nature. Well, for those people, think about our animals, as they get sick, as they're dying, or abused or neglected animals, that brings up strong reactions in the animal lovers. And so, no, you might not be afraid of a spider or a tiger or a bear or a shark, but you have strong reactions when somebody's abusing an animal or when you hear about animal mistreatment. And that is a shadow animal showing up for you. And they show up not to make us feel helpless, hopeless, and stuck in nothing's ever going to change. They show up to teach us to be with that energy in a way that's empowering for us, empowering for the animals, and allows that energy to shapeshift into a power animal. And in that module, I share a very powerful story that I had with a very venomous spider that taught me all about shadow animal energy and how to use it in your life to move forward to help the animals.
Awesome.
Of course, we got the module about music of the plants, right? That's a huge draw. That's a picture of the actual machine connected to a plant. It's very scientific looking. But you're going to have that. You've got me explaining it and a journey. So you can take yourself on it as the journey. You can also use it as meditation music in the background.
Beautiful. That is so fascinating. I'm so excited to learn about that.
That's like my favorite things. And this is right. Like this is the poo-poo platter, this offering, right, is because I do so many different cool things and I work in all these different amazing realms. And so I wanted to pick my favorite pieces to share with your community, right? Because if you're resonating with the conversations we're having, if you're resonating with the readings, then you're in the right place. If you're like, what's this chick talking about? You know, like, I don't actively hate trees, but I don't know what she's talking about. Well, then I'm not your person. That's okay. Go in peace. I love you. You've got a different path. But people who resonate, here we go. And then, of course, I included a live group session. And that'll be coming up at the end of the month. So this will be a really great time to get your questions answered. So that is all package A. And then you get
and
package
I was gonna say,
A.
there's a bonus with package A as well, the journey with the elementals
Yes,
through the 4 elements.
We talk about the elementals too. I mean, we go everywhere. You get a little bit of everything to take you deeper, but it's not superficial. This is not the stuff you're going to Google and it's going to pop up for you. This is deep, energetic, multidimensional aspects. And, you know, I always tell people in these quick mini readings, right? Because I've got this gift of this laser focus and the readings come in real quick. So imagine if I had 30 minutes where I'm not focused on a whole show of people being present, a whole audience and their energy pulling, imagine what can come through for you. So in that private session, I record everything for you so you'll have it to be able to go back to. We're going to look at specifically the plant, the mineral, the animal, and the element that is showing up to support you at this time. They also typically, when I'm in these sessions, give me a time frame, like through this season or for the next 6 weeks, or you got a week to be working on this or whatever. Your team will come through with what they come through with. But in there, I'll share those pieces. Then we're going to look at what's going on in your life. You're going to have time to ask your questions. Nothing is off the table for me. Everything. It's your time, whatever we can cover during that 30 minutes. And like I said, it comes through quick and easy for me. People will come in with lists and they're like, oh my God, I got all the way through it. Do you got anything else? So I just, you know, I'm honored. It's an honor to be able to be the conduit to bring through those messages. But what's more important to me is helping you remember that you can do this and how to do that. And that's what I find to be the most sourcing in those private sessions, as we start to tap into your energetic field and see where your natural propensities lie. Because the truth is, we could hone any of the abilities, but where does it naturally come through? And usually it's so natural, we don't even realize it's happening, and we're spending a lot of time and energy dismissing it. So let me help you unpack that intuitive backpack.
So again, these 2 packages, A and B, if you are an Inner Circle member, please don't forget to use your 10% or 25% code. And there is a payment plan available for both packages, 2 and 3-part payment plan. So please do take advantage of that as well. And yeah, I mean, just the few readings we've done so far today, you know, it's like, you're like spot on, and, you know, valuable, relevant information that people can use, you know, so I love that. All right, Tanya, we're going to go to Tanya. Tanya, you want to unmute yourself?
Hello, ladies. Hi. Well, I have a lot of dreams with animals, and strangely, I'm working in a garden center at the moment, as I couldn't find a job as musician. And yeah, I always felt connected to the nature. And every time I see the animal in my dream, I go to the dream interpretation, because, well, I always want to know if there is any message is given to me. So I would love to have reading and know what is my animal actually. And thank, if it's okay, thank you.
One in that's already hopped in as you were talking. And first of all, I want your team, I call it your team. It's like all the guides. It's like an audience here, right? Like everyone's almost like a newscaster, right? Like I'm sitting here and they're all talking in my ear, saying things, but they want to honor you for your musicianship, right? Like you play from your heart, you are channeling, and it's divine and it's beautiful. So I'm like, oh my gosh, if you could feel all the love coming to you, it's so moving. And then at the same time, I had this rabbit, like, hopping in, and this rabbit is here. First of all, they're very cute. So who could not love a rabbit? But there's a deeper meaning in there for you. You're coming into a very fertile time. We're right here on the cusp. But as we enter spring, we're still in the winter time. So don't lose hope, right? Like we're still in the winter. The spring is still coming. There's still that seed under the ground, and it's dark and it doesn't look hopeful, but it's coming, and that plant's going to come through the ground. So no, you're coming into a very fertile season. So you have to be in your listening. This is where rabbit comes in, right? So when a rabbit doesn't know what to do, they stand perfectly still like a statue. What do we do as humans when we don't know what to do? We run around in every direction and ask everybody else what they think they should do. We're lucky we're at the top of the food chain, because we would get eaten first because we're ridiculous. So rabbit is telling you, if you don't know what to do, stop, get still, listen. Your team, I felt them viscerally in here. They're waiting, but you got to stop and sit still for them to talk. The other part about rabbit energy is if it's not a full body yes, then it's a no.
Okay.
Or
Thank
not now, right? Like it doesn't have to be a never, but if it's not a full body yes, and practice, right? Like practice that when you go out to eat and you look at a menu and you're like, what's the full body yes on this? That's a way to work that muscle. Or, what movie shall I see, or what book shall I read, or what music shall I listen to? What's the full body yes? And practice doing that, because you're going to have different opportunities coming in here in the span of about 6 weeks that are going to, out of fear, we might just jump on one. We want you to stop and say, is this a full body yes?
It's not, thank you so much. It's not that fear. I just, if I have a lot of things, I start to be chaotic, and yes, it doesn't help me to make a decision. So thank you so much. I have to be calm, and I have to just meditate more. Thank you so much. Thank you.
To help, to be with you some more, to present these opportunities that are really going to come to fruition instead of just more busyness.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, Tanya. And no, I don't speak German.
Oh.
No, I understand a little bit, but definitely do not speak. All right, we're going to go to iPhone. I never know who iPhone is. It's like, I don't know. We'll find out. It'll be a surprise. It's always a surprise.
Like Masked Singer.
iPhone, you want to unmute yourself? This is iPhone with our hand raised. Otherwise, I'm going to go to the next person. Going, gone. All right, Kathy, you want to unmute yourself?
Oh, there's iPhone.
Oh,
Hello.
iPhone, you're here.
Oops.
Okay. Kathy, we'll come back to you.
Okay.
Thank you. Hi, iPhone.
Yes. Hi. I was waiting so long. Yeah. It was an interesting conversation. What is mine? What is my let's see, nature saying to me right now?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a rock, and it's a kind of rock though. And it's very fascinating because some people are more prone to finding them than other people, and they're heart rocks. So it's a rock that you look at that is in the shape of a heart, right? And again, you would think, oh, she talks to rocks, this and that. She should be able to find heart rocks, no problem. No, but my partner goes out and he can like just look at the sky and find a heart rock on the ground, right? Like it's insane. They find him is what I always say. And that's what's coming through for you, these heart rocks. So you don't even, I'm pretty sure you're going to start seeing them, or they're going to start showing up. But the message behind them is it's not, it's happening in nature naturally from the process of this rock's life cycle, right? It got knocked up against this tree, it got knocked up against this other rock, and this amazing beautiful shape, this love-centric shape came from it. So speaking to you and everything you've been through, right? Like, oi, who can't relate to that poor rock getting knocked around here and there. And so for all of that, this has really chiseled in you this profound heart connection. And to apply it to yourself, right? Like, you have so much compassion, for others, but to really be applying it to yourself and letting that, I would even pull up a picture of a heart rock or something, or just type it in and picture yourself. I would visualize yourself being surrounded by 4 heart rocks and you receiving that, right? Like, there's nothing for you to do. You have to do too much all the time already. This is totally an offering to you from your team, filling you up, that depletion coming to an end, that depletion cycle coming to an end, and letting you be filled up. So feel that. And I would feel it especially in that heart chakra area, because it feels a little armored. So let in a little more light, and really those harmonic frequencies of those rocks, those heart rocks, can penetrate that. And in your body, you might want to increase your magnesium for a little bit of time here over the next week or two.
Oh.
Help everything percolate.
That's hilarious. It's so fun. I mean, it's like I felt my heart laughing.
Awesome.
It was just you were so spot on with being knocked around and stuff, and developing this compassion, and I am so grateful. Thank you for releasing that for me so that I can move on. Thank you so much, Anna.
Receive it, right? Like, they're like, oh my gosh, she's always like, what can I do? But like, they're like, you can receive. That's what you can do. You could receive just for a little bit, because we got to get your power, you need to be receiving more. And the rocks, nature, the animals, they can all help you do that. But you got to stop, right? Kind of like the rabbit, we got to get you to stop for a second. We can't charge up our phone if we don't plug it in, right? So, or I guess some people can because they have new technology, but you know what I mean.
Yes, I do.
I got to stop giving technology analogies. I'm like 30 years behind.
Awesome. Thank you, iPhone.
Thank you so much, Alara. Thank you, Anna.
Yes, it was fun.
Yes.
All right, we're going to go to Kathy.
Yay.
Hello. Hello.
Hi. Oh, Kathy, I just want to say really quickly.
Yes.
In response to your comment in the chat, sometimes I like my dog better than my kids. My dog is so much more loving and they do not sass. Well, it's so funny. I had created a webpage for something, and I had put, pictures of the kids, and I put a picture with me and Neo, and they're like, Mom, why is Neo before us? Like, it just, I don't know, it just ended up that way. So then, so I had to be careful after that. It's like, okay, put the kids first, then put the dogs.
They both sass. I don't know. I argue with my Great Dane all the time. And I'm like, are you talking back to me? And then he does some more to make sure that I got it.
I know as teenagers, I used to say, I like the dog better than I like you.
Right. And it's nice to have something around that's happy to see you during those teenage years.
Right.
Yeah.
I was going to ask for a reading, please.
I love the leaves behind you, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I had to leave my front room because somebody came to our door, but yeah, this is a green room. This is my favorite room because I am an outdoor person and everything is green, and I live in Florida, so it's palm trees all around me.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Let me see what your team is coming through with for you. And it's coming through right away. It's interesting, Florida, you've got the oceans, but it's a river in particular that's coming through. And this river is showing me, well, they're giving you a little bonus because they're putting some rocks in here too. So not just the river, but the rocks, and very different than the heart rocks that we just talked about are river rocks. And
those are my favorite river rocks. I have them around in all my plants and everything.
Right.
I love river rocks.
And they've, again, the journey, right? They've been through a different kind of journey. They ended up in this water basin one way or another, right? And they've been worn and shaped by that element of water. So I love that you resonate with those river rocks, because they're there when I was so funny, because I kept seeing the river and I'm fixated on the river, and then they're like pulling me down deeper, like, you got to show her the rocks. You got to show her the rocks. So what they're showing you is let that element of water, it has to do with integration. We always think about it as the flow and the healing, but integration, right? Like you've taken in and remembered so much, and it's time to make it your own. And just like, each of those rocks, it's not like one kind of rock. It is an igneous rock and a sedimentary rock and a, metamorphic rock. All of them are there at the bottom of that river that have been shaped. And so taking everything that you've been learning, all the knowledge, and making it your own, because you have a unique flavor from your own weathering process that you've been through, that allows you to offer it up in a different way. And they're showing me, right? Like, that's not as pokey. You have you have gentleness in your energy that allows people to receive it in a different way. That is like, it's been smooth, it's been shaped. And so connect in. I would even do a journey where you picture yourself standing in the river, right? So your feet are connected to the river rocks and the water's flowing around you. And then set your intention and say that I'm open with ease and grace, right? We don't need any 2x4 moments here. Ease and grace, flow.
That sounds wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, so wonderful.
Awesome. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
So Joy had put a question in the chat a while ago. I did not forget you, Joy. And she said, I have tree family, and I wonder if it's possible that we knew each other before this life, especially with the one I'm communicating the most. Her name is Ella.
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. And there's like, oh, that's so exciting. So there's a couple different things. I'll get to your specific question in a minute, but you opened up a wonderful can of worms here for folks. So with trees, there are trees that not only know us, but they know our ancestors too, because they've been here so long. And there are trees that are here now that you might have had an experience with when you were in another lifetime in a particular place, right? So you've got, trees are these phenomenal, interdimensional, energetic antenna, and they're flowing with life force energy. And even science can't explain everything about trees, right? Like, it is magic that they take sunlight, water, and air and turn it into sugar. Are you kidding me? Like, this is amazing. And science isn't even sure how they move all of their nutrients. They thought they had it figured out one way, and they're not really sure. They're like, it's kind of more like anti-gravity technology. Poof, right? Like, we don't even know what we don't know. So for you, yes, you know this tree. This tree is on your cosmic committee. You have known each other. You have known this tree. They're bringing in a couple different things here. You guys go way back, because you have been a tree with this tree before in one of this tree's other embodiments. You have also been embodied as a human in another lifetime when this tree was in its form as it is now. So yes, you go very, very deep, and there's a lot for you to explore there, especially your time when you were a tree with Emma. And of course, you call her Emma, whichever embodiment, it doesn't matter, but ask her for more information, because this is a big deal, this information, when you spent time embodied as a tree.
Wow. Wow, that's
She's got
wow,
more.
Joy. That's amazing. Amazing. I love it. All right. So last question from Sharon. Sharon, you want to unmute yourself? Maybe. Yes.
Hi, me?
Hi.
Oh,
Yep.
too cool. Let me pull this off. Hi, I'm working outside. Yes, my name is
Oh, nice.
Sharon, and hi, yeah, it is nice. I just wondered if there was something I need to hear, and I'm so glad to catch your show today because I love trees. And so I'm really excited to just see if there's something I need to hear. I'm at a juncture, and I'd love to get some guidance or some friends.
And this is the beauty of using nature, right, as that portal to go there. And I want to thank all of your tree friends who are joining us too. This is like, we're all being bathed in this amazing energy. So thank you for that. I tell you, it's interesting because I was like, oh, great, we're going to connect with a tree. And then they took me in and down and under, and then I'm in the ground, and it's the fungi, it's the mushrooms, that psyllium, I should say, that they're pointing to. And they are adaptogens. This is what they're talking about. So there's a couple things going on here. So the mycelium is what makes the trees able to talk to each other. They keep everybody connected to everything. So it's like you're trying to figure it out from one place, like one single tree trying to figure it out. And they're saying, no, you're not meant to figure this out on your own. Call in your cosmic committee because you need this help. I would also collaborate with the mushrooms or the mycelium in the physical form, right? At this point, take a mushroom blend. I would do one that has at least 7 different mushrooms in it. Because they're adaptogens. So as you're at this juncture, they are going to help you physically connect in energetically to receive communication. So you can do that, I throw it in a smoothie, or you can take it in because they make them in powders, they make them in pills, they make them in tinctures, whatever's going to be easiest to get it in. And when you're working with them, right, like, and in this way, just follow the directions on whatever, make sure everything's kosher, organic, sustainable. They have good, Paul Stammet to me is like, he's and he does Host Defense. So that's the brand that I work with all the time. But see which one and just follow the directions on there. But as you're working with them, ask them to help you. Beautiful thing. Receiving help is what it is. It's not, it looks like it's the issue, but it's about you learning to receive assistance. All on your own.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much. That totally resonates. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sharon. And thank you for showing us the trees. Yes, thank you.
Sure. Okay. All right.
Beautiful. All right. So I'm going to mute you and I'm going to lower your hand. I'm going to try and mute you. Maybe not.
That sticky note was green too, right? Like, so all of this nature energy. Oh, great.
Yeah, exactly. Beautiful. So now, Ana Maria. So, it was my birthday yesterday. So I was wondering if I could get a reading for me.
Yes, a birthday reading. How much fun is that? Let's go one step further for you, actually. Give me a second. Wait, I'm just in the listening. So that was, yesterday was what, 3/7?
8.
3/8. Today's not 3/8? No, today's 3/9. Oi. Okay, let me feel in here for a second and see. I'm going to do some quick math here. I'm going to couple numerology with these messages, which I absolutely love. Aw, this is so sweet. You have deer energy coming through for you. And deer energy, first of all, it's about this gentle luring, right, to new adventures and a return to traditional wisdom, right? And which you do, right? Like your whole being supports that what you do here, all of this. So that deer energy luring you to this new adventure, but also asking you to bring a gentleness to yourself, right? Again, very similar to iPhone, you're so compassionate to everybody else. You're always making sure everybody else is cared for. And then there's you, right? Like, so make sure that you are adding an extra heaping of that dear gentleness to yourself as well. Oh,
yeah. My daughter always says to me, or lately, she's saying, Mom, I wish you loved yourself as much as I love you. And I'm like, yeah, I say I do, but yeah, I get it. I'm a little hard on myself for sure.
Animals, right? Like, what do? We check in. Oh, are you cold? Do you want to treat? Do that to yourself, right? Like because I will in between, right? My stuff, I go out and do all that to my animals too and spend time. Yeah. But now, right? Like when you're done doing the little loving on them, then turn it on yourself and just love on yourself for a minute.
Yeah.
Do something nice for yourself and then move through. And the thing is right, like we all have these because we're embodied. We know we've got the places where we've got it figured out. We've got places where we're still up against it. And then we got the places where it comes and goes. It just is. There's nothing wrong with any of it. But the places that we allow ourselves to, especially with these pieces of loving on ourselves, you can't outgive the universe, right? And so what starts opening up for us in response to us doing that, poof, mind blowing again, like plant singing.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And it's funny, you know, you were like 3/7, 3/8, because for the first 20 years of my life, we celebrated on March 7th because my parents didn't, you know, read the time right and whatever. So then I found out, no, my birthday is actually March 8th. It's like, so I celebrate both days.
That's so funny. Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So it's like, it's all good. I'll take either day. I'll take the whole month of March. It's fine.
Yeah, I think.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Yeah, thank you so much, everybody. Yes, it's been a busy week, hectic week, you know, but we do all need to be kinder to ourselves, be more compassionate to ourselves, take time for ourselves. And you know, the whole deer thing, I haven't seen deer in a while. So I like every time I walk with the boys, I'm looking because there are deer here, and like, you know, there's a mother and child that are like always here. So I'm looking for them. Like, I haven't seen them in a while. Where are they? And usually when I ask that question, I will see them, right? So now that we've had this conversation, I'm sure I will say, I just love them. They're just
so sweet. They're
Yeah,
so, I mean, and you just, again, it drops you into your heart space. I was doing an interview and the guy goes, let me turn my camera around so you can see this. There was a pregnant mama deer sitting right outside during the interview. It was like, oh my gosh, you guys, could this be any perfect and more a gentleness, passion, and new life?
Exactly. It's like, oh wow, thank you. That's so beautiful. And it's like, it's just so funny because I love deer. I just love deer. I love seeing them, not when they go quickly in front of my car. It's like, that's like,
I don't like that either.
It's like a little bit more space, buddy, a little bit more space. It's okay. I think we talked about everything that we were going to talk about, you know, I think, and like this whole show was like amazing. Your readings, I said at the beginning that your readings are spot on, like you're tuned in beyond belief. But is there any last words of wisdom that you want to share with us?
Yeah, you know, I feel like that piece, go outside and just be inspired and follow that leaning. People are like, well, which tree do I pick? Which one do you feel drawn to? Right? Like sometimes it's magical and the tree looks lit up, and sometimes you just are like, oh, how did I get to this tree? You know, and we follow that and just let yourself be in the wonder and the curiosity. That wonder and that curiosity, that is an amazing portal to the other realms and to where we can really bring practical magic into our lives. So if you resonate with the conversations we've been having, the things we've been talking about, I would love to have you join me in this course. I would love to see you in a private session. And I have to tell you, right, like the upgraded package, that's such a deal because you'll pay that just for a private session with me. And in this case, it's like getting a private session and getting the course for free. So definitely, you know, if you're feeling that, follow those nudges. I would be honored to be on this journey of expansion with you. So thank you.
Beautiful. And the readings are transformational. It's not just giving you information, but it's moving you forward on your path, on your journey for whatever is coming up. So I love that part of it. And and it's like, I you know, people always said to me, like before, you know, when I was to get readings and stuff, they would say, go outside, you need to be in nature, go outside, you need to be in nature, go outside. It's like, oh, really? You know, but now since I have the dogs and I'm living in nature, it's like, oh my God, I can't imagine not going outside and not being in nature. You know, it's like, even if it's in my, I call it a compound today, but in our compound, I just go outside every morning, say hello to the sun, say hello to nature, you know, and it's just that connection is what we all need, and to disconnect from the busy, chaotic world that we're always in. So that connection with nature is what we all need. And it doesn't take long. It's 5 minutes, not even sometimes, right? And it'll make a huge difference in your energy field, in the way you think and feel, and the way you connect, not just with, the trees and the animals, nature and the world, but also then with yourself, right? Yeah, it'll get you to go deeper within yourself. And then you'll see how everything is connected, everything is related, everything is working for your highest good, for your highest benefit, everything. I mean, when I go out and I walk and I hear the birds, it's like, oh, they're so beautiful. They're like, oh my God. And sometimes they're like so loud. It's like, so then I ask, it's like, oh my God, what are you trying to tell me? It's like, what message do you have for me? I will just ask that, or if I see a hawk or, something in the sky, it's like, oh, look at you, it's like so majestic, right? And it's like, what message do you have for me? Ask, and you will most likely get something if you're willing to receive. So again, you told somebody, I think it was Evie, receive. I think it was Evie. It was just to receive. We all need to receive. And like you said, for myself, I need to receive, right? For myself as well.
Me too. My team's been nudging me the whole time, so I'm listening.
Yeah, exactly. So we all do. Yes, it was Evie. Receive. Awesome. Yes, absolutely. So thank you so much. Oh my God, Ana Maria, this was so much fun, and everybody who is here and all your wonderful readings, all that wisdom, all that information. That's not just for the person who received the reading. We can all use that information, that wisdom. We can all connect with the trees. We can all connect with the rocks. We can all connect with rabbit, for example. It doesn't matter. We can all work with, I don't like the word to use, work with all, nature in any way that we've talked about today. So please do. And that whole plant thing, oh my God, the music of the plants, that is so fascinating. So start talking to your plants as well and see what you get, right? See what information you get. Ask them. I don't have a green thumb, I'll be honest, but I just received a rose plant from my brother-in-law and sister-in-law. They just came over today. So I will talk to that plant and say, okay, how can I keep you alive?
Yeah, that's a good place to start.
What can I do to keep you alive? So, but yeah, I love roses. I love flowers. I love plants. I love trees. I love nature. And, I gotta say, without it, I would be a basket case. So it definitely helps. So please take some time and go out in nature. You don't even have to connect, just go out and appreciate.
Nature do the rest. You just get out there.
Exactly. And Ana Maria, thank you so much for being here with us again. It was so wonderful. Oh my God, you're so gifted, you're so talented, and the work that you're doing in the world is so amazing. So please keep doing the work that you're doing.
Thank you. We won't let it go this long next time before we reconvene.
Exactly. It's like, I don't know why it took us so long, but yes, definitely. All right, everyone. So thank you. We'll be back tomorrow for a special show. So please do join us. Kathy says, ask my plants, do you need water? And I'll get a thought in my head for the answer. Awesome. Yes, that's how it works. That's one way of how it works. All right, everyone. Much love and blessings. May you continue to be blessed with an abundance of joy, peace, love, happiness, prosperity, radiant health. Sending you all much love and blessings.